Sarah, thank you very much indeed. 8:38.
Now, we have monuments dedicated to all kinds of heroes, don't we? In Norwich, though, it's a surprise statue. It's suddenly appeared this week. It's depicting one of the city's most famous sons. Take a guess.
Have a look. Aha. It had to be Alan Partridge, the fictional broadcaster created by Steve Coogan. And this has suddenly appeared, temporarily, we're told, outside Norwich Shopping Centre, which also houses BBC Radio Norfolk, which, of course, is where Alan Partridge did his show. Let's
give you an idea of the scale of this. It's 11 feet tall, including the plinth. It features Alan wearing his trademark golfing knitwear, clutching a mug of tea. We can talk to the artists who made it, Nick Dutton and Gavin Fulcher. Good morning to you both. How are you? Standing in front of that statue must be very, very proud.
It is quite a proud moment, yeah.
Yes, we're very pleased with it, yeah. It's come out quite well.
So tell me the history of this, of you, of Alan Partridge, and how it's come to this.
So we met in the film industry about 6 years ago working on a film. We discovered that we're both from Norwich and love where we come from. And we set about working on a collaboration project. And who better to immortalise than Alan Partridge himself?
Why immortalise Alan Partridge? What is it about this guy that makes you such super fans?
Well, I think the city has really taken to Alan. I mean, I'm sure he's not everyone's cup of tea, but there was a premiere a few years ago, Alpha Papa, which was campaigned to have in Norwich rather than London.
As you say, it's not everybody's cup of tea. He's got a nice cup of tea there in his hand, doesn't he?
Well, I must say, Nick and Gavin,
exactly.
we saw on Twitter Alan Partridge, well, Steve Coogan, saying on Twitter, you must have seen this, saying, although this is completely unauthorised, having taken counsel, I'm happy that the statue's attitude and stance are correct. So that must feel pretty good, that you've got some endorsement, at least from the man himself.
It was a big relief,
yes,
I must say.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think Steve Coogan might say about this? Because you know the creator, of course, and you know it's his brand, it's his shtick, so to speak. So what do you think he would say about it?
Well, we hope he'll be flattered, and we hope that it'll be good publicity for him. We hope he'll think anyway.
Should we find out, guys? Because we've got a bit of a surprise for you. Because joining us on breakfast, joining you on breakfast now, yeah, from the Lake District, Steve Coogan. Morning, Steve.
And so trying to play ball.
Oh, you're cutting it. It's not a great signal. Just repeat that. What do you think, Steve, of this statue?
I think it's fantastic. I'm very flattered. The detail is very good. I appreciated the fact that the pull.
I think he was appreciating the pullover there. I mean, we should ask, while we're trying to re-establish this line with Steve Coogan, Nick, Gavin, I did see your faces as John was introducing Steve Coogan, because this is it. So far he appreciates the pullover. Tell me about the thinking behind what you were going to put him in terms of clothes and the stance, because it's a very, well, it's an individual stance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at, obviously, we would have got Steve himself to model for us, but he's a very busy man, so
we looked at images of Kim Il-sung initially. We thought that might be appropriate.
Typical Alan style, it was a dictatorship stance that we were looking for,
yes.
So we played around with different poses and discovered that this was the most natural for Alan himself.
It's a tricky one in Norwich, isn't it? Because I know a lot of people love him, but a lot of people are kind of embarrassed by him and a bit fed up with him. I mean, did you face some resistance?
Well, it was a guerrilla project, so not a lot of people knew about it, and that's probably a good thing. So
we had trouble keeping it quiet. Yeah.
Well, I think we've got Steve back on the line. I think we've reconnected with Steve Coogan. Steve, we couldn't hear you very well. Ah, that's better. That's better. Sum it up for us. When you saw this statue, what went through your mind?
I was flabbergasted, and when I heard it's been cast in brass, I think, which is fantastic. I hope it will encourage people to take up to put down their video screens and take up brass instruments. I think that would be a very good thing. But I think it's superb. I think it's great. I think it'd be nice if we had a permanent place in Norwich and Norfolk, a county which I'm very fond of, having got to know it through Alan Partridge.
What did you know anything about the statue being made, Steve?
I think one of Nick or Gavin got in touch a couple of years ago, and they were toying with it. And I don't know, we were tied up with stuff, and so I heard sort of rumours about it. But it surpassed all my expectations. I think it's quite magnificent. I think the Norfolk Tourist Board should embrace it and make it work for them.
Oh, I've just seen Nick and Gavin. I've just seen Nick give Gavin a thumbs up there, because you're obviously very pleased. Must be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief, really, because this is from the words of the mouth, the words from the mouth of the man himself.
Oh, that's amazing. Doesn't get much better than that. Thanks a lot, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Well done.
Oh, you've made someone's day there, Steve. I mean, it must be lovely. I mean, is this going to get a mention in the podcast? Because back in a podcast in a shed. Tell me about that.
Oh well, it's actually Alan's new podcast. By the way, I emphasise that I know there's conspiracy theorists out there will say it's some complete publicity ruse. I had no idea they were going to make this statue, by the way. But you might as well make hay while the sun shines. The podcast is actually from an oast house. From a purpose-built oast house. And it's out at the moment. There's 18 episodes, and they're all people seem to like them. It was #1 in the podcast for a while in the podcast charts. But Alan will return on BBC at some point on BBC television next year. So I'm sure the statue. I think we'll try and find a way of working the statue in, I'm sure.
Do you know, I'd be intrigued, just from Alan Partridge's awkward character, how, Steve, he will cope with social distancing and just going by the rules.
I think Alan probably likes social distancing because I think he doesn't like him. He's not a particularly tactile person. And I think he would prefer to elbow bump than handshake, even before COVID came along. So I think it works for him.
Steve, I wonder what Alan would think of the statue.
Well, as he said, Alan has released a statement on Twitter. I can't speak for him. I'm Steve Coogan. Alan is a different person, so I can only second guess what he might say. But I think he would be, of course, flattered. But I think he'd want it to be somewhere prominent, with perhaps next to a war leader like Montgomery or Churchill or someone like that. I think he'd like it to maybe in front of Norwich Town Hall, which of course is a magnificent building. I think he'd want it. He wouldn't want it to be seen as a joke. He'd want it to be seen with a certain amount of reverence.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Steve, thank you very much indeed. Gents in Norwich, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for joining us. It's good work. You've got a new project now from Steve there.
Thanks
all the best. Cheers.
The time now is 14 minutes to